Sandhan, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટ ના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Hello friends, welcome to this series on English grammar. Most of us who are new to English grammar perhaps very often get an impression, or rather form an impression, that when we are trying to learn the English language, grammar is not really important. However, friends, this is not the truth. Grammar is an extremely important and significant part of our English learning. Ultimately, if we do not know good and proper English, how are we going to speak correct sentences? How are we going to learn the correct usage of all sentences? Sentence formation, use of the correct part of speech, all these are various aspects that we learn with the help of grammar. Today for our lecture, friends, we are going to use, or rather learn, an extremely important portion of English grammar, that is prepositions. Tenses, prepositions and modals, auxiliary verbs, these are the four pillars of any learning of the English language. And particularly when we are talking about English grammar, prepositions become an extremely important aspect of English grammar. How? We are just going to begin to learn. On your screens, let us come to the screens. That is the exact and the correct spelling of prepositions, my friends. Please do not eradicate or misspell or delete this spelling on your screen. This is Prepositions, and it is pronounced as prepositions. We will of course begin by the most fundamental question: what is the definition of prepositions? For this, let us come to the first slide on your screens. Let us look at that introduction. This is extremely important. Prepositions are one of the most important parts of English grammar, as, mark my friends, as they connect the object to the rest of the sentence. Hence, it is through prepositions that we come to know about three most important things, friends. Please see those words marked in the red: place, time and direction. How? For that, we'll come to the next slide. Now, on your screens, you will find an example in purple color. The dog is running. Now, the above sentence is complete in one way, and grammatically also, my friends, it is absolutely correct. But it does not give us an answer: where is the dog running? Again, look at the sentence at the top. The dog is running. The above sentence is complete in one way, grammatically also it is correct, but it does not give us an answer: where is the dog running? However, the addition of a preposition will give us that very important vital answer. Look at the sentence given at the bottom of the slide, friends. The dog is running in the garden. So, in this particular sentence, in plays the role of the preposition. And unless and until we do not use the preposition, we are not able to say where the dog was running. Let's go a little ahead. Now, these are some very important details about prepositions. Please keep a tab on them. Please mark them as important, because if you do not understand certain conditions of the usage of prepositions, then things will become a little tough for you. Look at the very first sentence on your slide. Prepositions are always placed before the noun. This is of utmost importance. Some commonly used prepositions are and I will take the names. Please write them down if you already have a pen and paper in your hand. At, on, in, before, after, behind, in front of, opposite, above, below, over, under, beside, besides, whether, to, of, for, by, of, until, till, from, since, ago, during, while, towards. Now these are some of the most commonly used prepositions. We still have a few more, but we are going to confine our discussion, my friends, into understanding the various functions provided by prepositions, particularly the prepositions that you see on your screens, as well as a lot of other associated functions that the prepositions perform. So shall we begin? In an enthusiastic way, let us start our discussions on the prepositions. Let us come to the very first set of prepositions that we are going to take. On your screen you can see we are first going to take the three most commonly used prepositions: in, at, on. These indicate prepositions of place. Please come to the first point on your screen, my friends. We use which preposition? We use the preposition in when we think of a place as three-dimensional. If you ask me what is three-dimensional, it should have height, it should have width, and it should have breadth, the length, that means. So any object, any place that contains all these three things is considered to be three-dimensional. Let us look at the examples. There are a lot of people in the hall. When we went to France, we spent a few days in Paris. She loves to swim in the sea. If you pay attention, my friends, you will see that preposition in all the three examples given here is in. Look at the first sentence again. Where is the noun that we have? Hall is the noun in the first sentence. Paris is the noun in the second sentence. And sea is the noun in the third sentence. So preposition in has been used before the noun. Alright, let's see the examples once again. There are a lot of people in the hall. When we went to France, we spent a few days in Paris. She loves to swim in the sea. So, whenever we are thinking of a place as three-dimensional, the preposition that we use is in. Let's go ahead. We also use in when we think of a place as an area. An area will have two dimensions. It won't have anything called the height. It will only have the length and the width, lambai and paudai. For example, the children are playing in the garden. A garden cannot have any height. It can only have length and breadth. My friend lives in Chennai. Once again, it is a city, so it cannot have height. It can only have two dimensions, that is the length and the breadth. Let us come to the second preposition. Number 2. We use at when we think of a place as a point in a given specific area. This is extremely important, friends. When we are thinking of a place as a point in a given specific area. Let us see examples and then I think it will become clear. For example, look at your screens. The first sentence. Sheena's brother is waiting for her at the bus stop. The bus stop, my friends, is a point on a road or in a street or on a any kind of a point on a place. It is not indicating a place in itself. So you can wait for somebody at the bus stop. You cannot wait for somebody in the bus stop. You do not get inside a bus stop. Alright. Let us come to the second sentence. Please sign this form at the bottom. Again, bottom here is indicating the point, the position. What do I mean by point? I mean the position. Look at the third sentence. My house is at the end of the street. Street is an area, and what is the position of my house on that street? It is at the end. So once again, it is giving us the point, the position. As you go out, leave your keys at the reception of a hotel perhaps. And when you are leaving your keys at a particular point, which preposition will you use? You will use the preposition at. Now look at the note given at the bottom of your slide, friends. Compare in and at. There were a lot of people in the showroom, but take a left turn at the traffic signal. So, while in the first sentence we are showing people inside a showroom, we are showing a three-dimensional area. In the second sentence, we are using the traffic signal as a place, as a point from which you have to take a left turn. Let's come to the third point. We use on when we think of a place as a surface. This is very important. For example, he sat on the floor, on the ground, on a chair, on the grass. All these nouns, look at them carefully. Floor, ground, chair, grass, etc. They are all representing surface, ek sapat area, ek sapati. So, for indicating such a surfacial area, which preposition do we use? On. For example, there's a dirty mark on the wall, or you can also say there's a dirty mark on your shirt, on your dress. Let's go ahead. We also use on when we think of a place as a line, when we are thinking of something. For example, on a map, friends. How will you draw a river on a map? You can show a river on a map, on a geographical map, only with the help of a line. So when we are referring to such a line, which is the preposition that we use? We use on. Let us see the example. Ahmedabad is on the river Sabarmati. Now here the river Sabarmati is not becoming a surface, but on a map, if we are showing river Sabarmati, it will be represented with the help of a line. So something which is on the line is also represented with the preposition on. Look at the note on your slide, friends. Compare in and on. There is some water in the glass. Why did we use in? Because water is inside the glass. But there is a dirty mark on the glass. The mark cannot go inside the glass. The mark has to be on the surface of the glass. Let's come to the next function, number 4. In and at for towns and cities. When do we use in and when do we use at for towns and cities? Let us see. The preposition in is normally used with cities, towns and villages. Let us see, for example, my grandparents live in Delhi. The Kankaria Zoo is in Ahmedabad. So we can use in order to indicate what? Cities, towns and villages. However, now come to the line after the examples. However, we normally use at when we think of a particular town, city or any place as a point or a station on a journey. This is extremely important. Therefore, I have marked it in red. How? We'll take examples and then it will, I'm sure, become very clear. For example, our train stops at Surat on its way to Mumbai. We stopped at a small village on the way to Calcutta. Now look at the cities Surat and the small village in both the sentences. What do these two cities represent, friends? They do not represent place, but they represent place as a position, as a point on a particular journey. Surat is not the destination. The small village is not the destination in the second sentence. But both these places were on the way, so they become positions, and therefore we are using the preposition at. Let us come to point number 5 in our discussion of prepositions, in and at for buildings. This is very important. With buildings, we can use either at or in. Both the uses of both the prepositions are justified. For example, we ate lunch in or at a restaurant. Okay, we can use both. Kuldeep works at or in the post office. So you can say Kuldeep works at the post office, Kuldeep works in the post office. However, there are a few points here. Come to point number A. When we specify the name of the building where an event is taking place, then we use at. This is an extremely important point, friends. Do write it down if you're writing it down. When we specify the name of the building where an event is taking place, then we use at. For example, we went to watch a drama at the town hall. Am I specifying the name of the building, friends? Yes, the name of the building is the town hall. So when the name of the building is specified, which preposition you are supposed to use? At. Let us look at the second sentence. The discussion on new economic policy was held at the party office. Am I specifying the name of the building? Yes, the name of the building is the party office. We saw the latest film at the PVR. This again is extremely important, at the PVR. Okay, come to point B. However, when we are talking about an event or a characteristic within a particular building, please mark this, my friends. When we are talking about an event or a characteristic within in the sense inside a particular building, then we use in. For example, the rooms in my house are very spacious, not at my house. The party was very good, but it was very hot in the hall. Once again, compare in and on. We stayed at the Ashok Hotel, but there are 50 suites. Please pronounce it as suites. There are 50 suites in the Samrat Hotel. So do you get the difference between at and in? We stayed at the Ashok Hotel as in a place, but there are 50 suites in the Samrat Hotel. Alright, I hope we are getting the difference very clearly. We'll come to the second section of our discussion on prepositions: above, below, over, under. Once again, we are going to discuss them as prepositions of place. Come to the first point. Very often there is confusion observed in the usage of over or above, under or below. I can understand, friends, they are extremely confusing. But today in this lecture, we will solve this confusion forever. Come to the last para on your slide. In fact, both above and over, both convey the meaning higher than something. Similarly, under and below convey the meaning lower than something. Alright, is this clear? Above and over convey the meaning higher than something. Below and under convey the meaning lower than something. So then what is the difference? Okay, on the right hand side of your screens, friends, look at this figure. Take a look at the figure given here. The figure clearly shows two objects, A and B. Now A is higher than B, while B is lower than A. But now pay attention, friends. There exists a direct vertical relationship between A and B. This is very important. A and B are literally in the same line on top of each other. Okay. Then what happens? When we describe such a relationship, what kind of relationship? Let's go back. A direct vertical relationship. When we describe such a relationship between two buildings or objects, we always use the prepositions over and under. So, A is over B, B is under A. If you want, friends, I can show you the relationship once again. Do you see the figure on your screens? For example, the doctor leaned over the patient to examine him. The vendor pushed the newspaper under the door. Alright, so this is a direct vertical relationship. Okay, now we come to another figure on your screens. Look at the figure carefully, friends. Object X is higher than Y. Y is lower than X. I think this is very obvious. However, X and Y do not share a direct vertical relationship. If you look at their positions, they are not in one line. One is a little on the left side, the other is little on the right hand side. For this kind of relationship, we use the prepositions above and below. Let us look at the examples. In Goa, we stayed at a hotel above the sea. We cannot say over the sea. You cannot possibly live over the sea. Okay. From the hill, we saw a valley of flowers below. Alright. So, you can very well imagine the relationship between the hill and the valley, just like X and Y on your screen. X is a little on the left. Imagine that to be the hill. Y is a little on the right. Imagine that to be the valley of flowers. For such a relationship, we use the prepositions above and below. Okay, some more prepositions of place. The first one that we will take is opposite and between. Now on your screen there are two figures. Let's come to the very first figure. Do you see there is a bank and there is a cinema? The bank and the cinema, friends, I'm sure you will agree with me, the front portion of the bank and the front portion of the cinema are both facing each other. In the second figure, the front portion of the bank and the front portion of the cinema are also facing each other, but between them there appears to be a road. Alright, so let's see, how do we define this relationship? Now, opposite is used when the front portions of two objects or buildings are directly facing each other. Look at the first figure once again, bank and the cinema. For example, the bank is opposite the cinema. Between is used when one person or thing is placed at the center of two objects and the front portions of both the objects or things are facing each other directly. This is the second figure. Go back to the bank and the cinema once again. For example, the road is between the bank and the cinema. So I hope I'm making the difference between opposite and between very clear. Let's go ahead. Come to the second preposition in this category, near or next to. Near is used to describe the closeness of two or more objects or persons. But, now this is the important part, my friends, it does not specify how close. That specification is going to take time. For example, my uncle lives near the sea. But when I say this sentence, my uncle lives near the sea, friends, I do not know and you do not understand how near he lives to the sea. It could be 20 kilometers, it could be 200 meters, it could be 200 kilometers. We have absolutely no idea. We are simply making a comparison with somebody else, with something else in our minds, and then using the preposition near. Look at the second sentence. Arpit stays near the railway station. Once again, are we getting an idea how near is the railway station? Is it 2 kilometers away? Is it 15 kilometers away? We have absolutely no idea. So let's go ahead. Next to conveys the meaning adjacent to something or someone. When two or more objects or persons are adjacent to each other, we use next to. What do I mean by adjacent, friends? One after the other. Ek pachi bijo. For example, Aarti sits next to Jinal in the canteen every day. Bhavik's roll number is next to mine. So you get the concept very clear. Let's come to the third set of prepositions, by and beside. Both by and beside convey the meaning at the side of. For example, Vishal sat beside Purnima in the cricket stadium, or Vishal sat by Purnima in the cricket stadium. So both by and beside convey almost the same meaning. Let's come to number 4, round or around. We use round or around to describe place or movement in a circle or in a curve. Please mark these two words, friends, circle or a curve. Look at the example given on your screens. My classmate lives just round or around the corner. We sat around or round the dinner table for our discussion. Alright, a dining table suggests a circular curve. We also use round to convey the meaning into all parts of. This is important. For example, we took a stroll. What do I mean by a stroll? A walk. We took a stroll round the market. So these are very important ideas that prepositions are giving us, very important grammatical structures. Let's come to the fifth structure, from, to and towards. Look at from. From describes the beginning or starting point of a journey, and to or towards describes the destination or last point of that journey. Look on your screens. The example itself makes it very clear. Hitesh flew from Delhi to Paris. Alright, Hitesh flew from Delhi, that is the starting point of the journey, to Paris. Paris is the destination or the last point of the journey. Okay, so after having discussed prepositions of place, friends, now let us come to prepositions of time. Once again, we will begin our discussion from the most commonly three used prepositions, at, on and in. Let us come to the first one. We use at to indicate a time of the day. For example, I have a meeting at 11 o'clock. Rekha's exam will begin at 10 a.m. The international flight takes off at midnight. We will discuss this issue at lunchtime. So when we are giving a specific time, when we are indicating a specific time of the day, we always use the preposition at. Let's go ahead. We use in to indicate a part of the day. This is extremely important. For example, we must get up early in the morning to study. How many parts of the day do we have, friends? Morning, afternoon and evening. Look at the second sentence. My favorite TV show will be telecast in the afternoon. Look at the third sentence. The party is in the evening. And look at the note. That note is extremely important. Please pay attention. For night, however, we still use the preposition at. For example, Tejas will surely be at home at night. This is extremely important, friends. Please mark the note, and if you're writing it down, do not forget to write down the note. Okay, let's go ahead. Come to the third point. We use on to indicate a specific day like Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, etc., etc. Let us look at the examples. My anniversary this year falls on a Sunday. The athletes will be meeting on Monday for their training. We will be visiting our friends on Diwali day. Usually, gifts are exchanged on Christmas. So once again, when you are specifying a particular day, we always use the preposition on. Let's come to the fourth point. Friends, this is important. When we want to specify, alright, I'm asking about specification. When we want to specify both the day as in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, as well as part of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, like Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Thursday night, etc., then once again we use the preposition on. This is extremely important, friends. Please make a note of it, and if you're writing this down somewhere in the brackets, please mark this point as an extremely important point. Let us take a look at the examples. What are the examples? They will arrive here on Sunday afternoon. We cannot say at Sunday afternoon or in Sunday afternoon. Those two prepositions are not allowed, friends. Only one is allowed, and that is on Sunday afternoon. We will leave for Mumbai on Wednesday evening. Once again, at Wednesday evening is not allowed. Okay. Alright, let us come to the fifth point in this lecture. We also use the preposition on when we specify a particular date. Mark the words, friends, specification of the date. For example, Kinjal was born on the 23rd March 2011. When I'm using a specific date, which preposition, friends, am I supposed to use? On. The final exams will begin on the 2nd April 2014. Alright. Again, I'm specifying a particular date. Rahul will come to Surat on 4th July. In all these three examples, friends, I'm sure you have noticed we are specifically using a definite date. And for that, we only use one preposition, on. Come to number 6. This is extremely important once again. When we refer in the sense talk, when we refer to a public holiday period, which preposition do we use, friends? We use the preposition at. For example, look at this. We plan to go to Goa at Diwali. The children will visit their grandparents at Christmas. This is very vital. Diwali and Christmas here in this particular point are not indicating specific days. But when we say Diwali, at Diwali, we are trying to indicate the Diwali vacation. Similarly, in the second sentence, when we say visit their grandparents at Christmas, we are trying to say the Christmas vacation. We are not indicating the day of Diwali. We are not indicating the day of Christmas. So please refer to this as a public holiday period. See, this is exactly what I was talking to you, and I have offered it to you in the form of a slide also. In the above sentences, Diwali and Christmas do not refer to the actual day of Diwali or Christmas, but to the public holidays associated with these festivals. I hope I'm making myself a little clear. Let us come to the next point. In order to indicate longer time periods like months, seasons, years, decades, etc., we use the preposition in. Hitesh's birthday falls in December. India won the Cricket World Cup in 2011. When we talk about the month of December, friends, we are indicating month. When we talk about the year 2011, we are indicating year. The British first came to India in the 16th century. Now, this is a century. Every year in summer, we go to our city. So, summer once again represents a season. And look at the point again. To indicate longer time periods like months, seasons, years, decades, etc., we use the preposition in. I hope this is getting a little clear. Let us come to point number 8. It is to be noted, this is an important point, friends, please make a note of it. It is to be noted that we do not use at, on or in when before words like next, every, this, all, some, each, one, any and last. This is very important. For example, please give me a call this evening. I cannot say please give me a call at or in this evening. Why? Go back to the point again. We do not use at, on or in before words like next, every, this, all, some, each, one, any and last. Look at the second sentence. They came back last Sunday. I cannot say on last Sunday. You can find me home any Saturday evening. This is the correct sentence. I cannot say you can find me home on any Saturday evening. That will be a wrong usage. Look at the last example. Sorry. They are leaving next Friday. Again, I cannot say they are leaving on next Friday. If you have been using that kind of a sentence construction, then friends, I am sorry to say that is wrong. Come to the 9th point. We use the preposition in once again to talk about a specific period of time in the future. They will finish the construction in 2 days. And I have offered an explanation in the brackets. That means 2 days from now, from today. We are talking about a specific period of time in the future. Meghna and Smita are meeting in 2 weeks. And look at the last sentence. I will complete my project in about 4 weeks. So we are using in to indicate a specific period of time in the future. Let's come to the 5th point. Now the 5th point is in, during, for, while. Prepositions of time. Once again, they are prepositions of time. Let us see the very first point. We use both during and in to refer to a period of time. When we are referring to a period of time, both these prepositions are allowed. We can use during also and we can use in also. Let us see the example. Our parents were in Hyderabad during or in the summers. I can say our parents were in Hyderabad during the summers. Our parents were in Hyderabad in the summers. Both of them are absolutely correct. Let us look at the second sentence. It hasn't rained during the night. It hasn't rained in the night. So both during and in can be used. But what is the catch here? Look at the second sentence. The second point. We prefer during to say that an action continues all throughout a given period of time. When the same action continues throughout, all throughout, then what do we prefer? We prefer during. We do not prefer in. Let us see the example. Asim was in Chennai during the entire winter season. That means he did not leave Chennai at all. Continuously from the beginning of the winter season to the end of the winter season, where was Asim? Asim was in Chennai. Okay, look at this note very carefully. We also use during when we refer to an action which takes place in between a longer action or time period. There are two actions being talked about here, friends. One action which is longer, the second action which is shorter. And when do we use during? When this shorter action is taking place between the longer action. The examples, I am sure, will make things clear. We visited the Eiffel Tower during our visit to Europe. So, visiting of the Eiffel Tower is the shorter action. Visit to the Europe is the larger action. When is Eiffel Tower visit happening? In between the visit to Europe. Okay. During dinner, we discussed the holiday plans. Dinner is the shorter action, holiday plans is the longer action, and dinner is happening in between the discussion of the holiday plans. Okay, we come to a very important comparison, friends. Comparison of during, for and while. During conveys the idea or concept of when something happens. This is very important. For conveys the idea of how long a particular action continues. Let us take a look at the examples. It rained during the night. When did it rain? It rained during the night. We only get the general idea of time. It rained for 2 hours. When we say it rained during the night, we are only saying it rained, that's all. We do not know how long did it rain. But when we say it rained for 2 hours, the meaning is extremely clear. We are giving the time duration. Let us come to the second one. We were in Ahmedabad during the kite festival. We were in Ahmedabad for 3 days of the kite festival. Do you get the difference between during and for? During, I repeat once again, is suggesting the idea or the concept of when something happened, whereas for is giving us an idea of how long a particular action continued. Okay, we come to point number 6. For, since, ago and before. These are prepositions of time. Let us come to the first point. The preposition for is used to say, please mark this, friends, how long an action continues, either in the past, present or the future. Let us take a few examples. Rasesh stayed for 10 days with his friends in Ooty. Kamal and Kavita played tennis for 2 hours every evening. Alright, once again, stayed for 10 days, Rasesh stayed for 10 days is the past tense. Kamal and Kavita play tennis for 2 hours every evening is the simple present tense. So, I hope the usage of for is becoming very clear. Let us come to the second point. Since is also used to convey how long an action has continued. But there is a difference in the use of for and since. Let us take an example. Vidhu has been painting for 2 hours. That means we get the time duration for 2 hours. We use for to indicate the length of the time period. But then look at the next sentence. Vidhu has been painting since 7 o'clock. We use since to mention the starting point of the time period. It does not tell us the exact duration. It only tells us the beginning or the starting point of that time duration. Whereas for tells us the exact time duration. But for does not tell us when, at what exact point did an action begin. Let us come to the third point. Ago is actually an adverb which conveys the meaning before now. However, friends, let me tell you that ago, though in spite of being an adverb, we use it as a preposition most frequently and regularly when we want to say something very specific. What is it? Let's see. For example, it is 10 o'clock now. Shikha left 2 hours ago. What does this mean? It means Shikha left at 8 o'clock, because what is the time right now? This is 10 o'clock and Shikha left 2 hours ago. Look at the note. Number 1. Ago always comes after an expression of time. For example, the doctor came to the clinic a few minutes ago. I cannot say it in the reverse order. Alright, the doctor came to the clinic a few minutes ago. Sorry. Let us take a look at the next sentence. They moved to America 6 months ago. Alright. Look at number 2 on your screens. Ago is used with a form of the past tense, not with the present perfect. This is most important, friends. We cannot say the doctor has come to the clinic a few minutes ago, or they have moved to America 6 months ago. Alright. So in this way, we understand the difference between ago and before. Alright. Now we will compare ago and before. Ago conveys the meaning before now. That means the reference point is the present tense. How? I will exhibit once again. Look at the first example on your screen. It is 10 o'clock now. Shikha left 2 hours ago. So the reference point is present time, 10 o'clock. So any time we think of in the past as compared to the present time, or the time right now, can be indicated with the help of ago. How? Before too talks about a past time. But here, what is it that we are taking as the reference point? We are taking as our reference point a past time itself. That means before conveys a time earlier than a specified time. Let us take a look at the sentence on your screens. For example, Jayesh left. I'm sorry, that is just a technical glitch. Jayesh left school 3 years ago. Chirag had already left school 2 years before him. I'm sure, friends, the difference between ago and before is now getting clear in your minds. And with this, we come to the end of our lecture on prepositions. I am hoping that prepositions discussion has benefited you, and I am also hoping that prepositions you will be paying maximum attention to, so that your written language as well as your spoken language becomes absolutely flawless. There are no mistakes. Hoping to see you again for the next lecture in our series on English grammar. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.
Sandhan, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.